Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture. We're a podcast about board games where we have opinions and conclusions formed on the basis of incomplete information. This episode of Cardboard Conjecture is brought to you by these great Saskatoon businesses: Amazing Stories Comics on 8th Street, Dragon's Den Games on 8th Street, and Breakout Escape Rooms on Faithful Avenue.
Hey there, how's it going? Hey, this is Wednesday, and this is What You Been Playing Wednesday. And this is a special weekly episode where a bunch of us content creators come together and tell you what we've been playing recently. And on this episode, we have Meeple and the Moose, Board on the Air, the Meeple Dungeon, the Bridge City Boardgamers Community, and Cardboard Conjecture. And please take the time to have a look at the notes, to check the links to the What You Been Playing Wednesday cast. And as I always suggest, enjoy.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I write board game reviews over at meepleandthemoose.com, and I'm here to talk about the games I've been playing this week for What You've Been Playing Wednesday. It's been a tumultuous summer, catching colds and having routines shaken by friends traveling. On the flip side, I've had some friends come and visit over the weekends, which is lovely, but also takes up the time that I would usually spend writing or playing games or recording podcasts. Add to this, the summer heat drains me of energy. I had a few hours to myself this Sunday, so I pulled a couple of games out of my closet. Arkham Horror the card game, Flick 'em Up Dead of Winter, and Wild Space. All of these are games I've been wanting to play solo for a while now. Each game, I opened the box, riffled through the unfamiliar components, opened the rulebook, and let my eyes roll down the page. I'd close my eyes, realize I didn't retain a single word, then just pack the game back up. Sometimes an inspiration to play a board game solo just isn't there, but hey, now you have a sneak peek into the games I'll be talking about in the future. This week, the game we played was starting a new campaign in Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle-earth. We embarked on the Shadow's Path campaign, which is the first big box expansion. Lord of the Rings: Journeys in Middle-earth is a campaign adventure game designed by Nathan I. Hajek and Grace Holdinghouse, published by Fantasy Flight Games in 2019. In LOTRJIME, players cooperatively explore procedurally generated maps as dictated by the companion app. The app also doles out story and dialogue options liberally, and manages the enemy placement, movement, and behavior. The crux of the game is testing your skills against various checks. Very often you'll be asked to test a skill such as wit, wisdom, or agility, among others. And when you do, you have to draw from your personal player deck, which is a combination of basic cards that everyone has, character-specific cards, and class cards. As you play the game more and gain experience in a class, you can add more cards from that class into your deck. When you draw cards during a skill check, you're hoping to draw successes, indicated by the golden suns in the top left corner, or by fate symbols indicated by the Lothlorien leaves. The fate symbols allow you to spend an inspiration to turn one of those fate symbols into a success, often allowing you to turn a failed test into a success. The Shadow's Path expansion adds in 5 new characters, such as Gandalf and Arwen, 5 new classes to explore, new monsters based off the Moria and Mirkwood locations, and a slew of new titles and trinkets to collect, along with some new map tiles and terrain to explore. Nothing in this expansion seems to change the game in any meaningful way. The only new mechanic is corruption, which apparently could play a role in the story where choices may require a character to be holding corruption tokens in order to make a particular choice. As I mentioned before, this is a campaign game. Each session is a single adventure in the overarching story. In this campaign, we have myself, who will play Arwen, the lethal dagger-wielding elf, my trusty sidekick Legolas, and rounding out the party is the noblewoman of Gondor, Eleanor, who is an original character who I think first appeared in Lord of the Rings: The Card Game, also by Fantasy Flight Games. Our party is named the Luscious Locks, and we are keen to explore what Shadowed Paths has in store for us. The first mission of this campaign had Arwen slay spider after she got cornered in a dead-end room, and it took Legolas 3 whole turns to investigate the wand dropped by the supplicant of Morgoth. Eleanor found a handsome elf stuck in a web who fled almost immediately after getting freed, then proceeded to make a bet that will culminate in a hat being eaten. Here's the summary. I like Lord of the Rings. I like cooperative games, and I like narrative-heavy adventures. I enjoy the level of customization of the player decks, and I enjoy how it feels like we're always narrowly dodging death. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth is a slam dunk of a game for me and my group. I'm keen to keep the adventure going, and I'll be sure to report back on the misadventures of Luscious Locks. And that's all I played this week. If you want to read my board game reviews, you can find them over on my website, meepleandthemoose.com, or follow me on Twitter at MooseMeeple. Have a happy Wednesday.
Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Jordan.
And we are Board on the Air, and this is What Have You Been Playing? For this week, we are going to be talking about
Get on Board.
New York and London edition. This is the North American version of Let's Make a Bus Route. This is a flip and write game. Solid game by Sashi and Sashi. And in it,
The first player will flip over this ticket, and it's going to have a number 1 through 12 and a color. You're mainly looking at the color because every board has its own reaction to that color token. Like some of them you'll be able to put out one tile, other ones you'll be able to put out one with a bend, two with a bend, or two straight, or three with double bend, so on and so on. The goal of the game is to make your bus route, of course, and you're going around the city picking up passengers, which can be tourists, grandmas who are apparently just wanting to ride the bus, students, and business people.
Yep.
And then dropping them off at the locations they want to be. Each of them scoring differently.
Yeah, you have a main board that everybody shares, and it's a map. And you're putting out wooden pieces like roads in Catan. And you're trying to go from point A to point B. Everybody's got a card in front of them or a sheet in front of them that you're keeping track of who you pick up and who you drop off. And there's some communal goals you're going after, and everybody's got a private goal of 3 locations that they have to hit. End of the game, everybody adds up their scoring, and the one with the most points wins.
Yeah, it was nice and quick, but it's also a little bit strategic because it's like, you know somewhat what's going to be coming out for you, but you're not sure when it's going to come out, and you also don't know where other people are going on the board.
Yeah.
Because if you head down a path that someone else has already crossed down, you're making more traffic, so then you have to cross off these things at the bottom of the board that can make you lose points.
Yeah, traffic's bad, and anytime you're following up on a route that 2 people have gone, you're getting 1 piece of traffic for each
previous bus.
Each bus route that's already gone through there. It's solid. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the flip and write, roll and write genre, but it's in the top, 10%, top 15%, I would say.
Yeah, and it has a nice table presence compared to some other roll and writes where you just see people flipping cards like, okay, that's interesting.
Well, and there's some interaction there where a lot of flip and writes and a lot of roll and writes, it's solitaire. Mm-hmm. You're not interacting with anybody at the table. Some board game, or some of them try, like cartographers, where you're handing your board to each other when you get a monster out there. But this one, you're all playing on the same board, and your individual board is you're just keeping score, plus the 12 tickets at the top, which there's 6 different things you can do. They're different on each board. Mm-hmm. So what I had, what you had, what Shea had, and what Mom had were all different when the number 12 or the 8 flipped over.
Yeah.
So it adds an interesting twist there. Graphically, it's got what's that style? It's sort of a newspapery style.
Yeah, sort of like the entry credits for like Monsters Incorporated.
Monsters Inc. Yeah, exactly. This one has been very popular for a long time. A lot of people have brought over the import version of it. We were lucky that the North American version finally hit here, and we were able to grab it and play it. Really solid game. If you like flip and rights and you like something with a little bit more interaction, I think this is a good option for people.
Yeah, and it can go 2 to 5. We played with 4, and there's 2 different maps depending on how many players you're playing with.
Yep.
Like 2 and 3 are on New York, which have some sections that are always traffic heavy.
Yep.
So if you ever go onto them, you have to mark off a bus.
Yeah, it's a tighter map. We haven't played it yet, but it looks like a lot more you're going to be tripping over each other.
Well, that's because it's meant for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. Yep. And then the London version is for 4 or 5. 4 was busy as is. I think 5 would be a blast. But there's going to be a lot of traffic that you're taking.
Yeah, but it's not the end of the world taking traffic, really.
No, like none of us lost a bunch of points doing it.
No, like the most someone lost was like 4, and I lost 5 by messing with my traffic placing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's because so if you flip over a ticket and it's not what you want, you can, use a modifier basically to change it from say 3 straight to 2 straight in a turn, right? And you're deciding which way it turns. You're not putting a Tetris shape on the board.
Yeah, and you're always going from the last place spot. Because it's a bus route. You can't just be like, oh, I'm over here, and now suddenly I'm back and gone this way.
Yeah, think snake. So if you do come back on where you already have been, your game ends.
Yeah, you lose and you don't even get the score.
Yeah. But it would be really hard to do that, and you would have to really, really mess up to do that.
Or put yourself in a corner and not pay attention.
Yeah, you can bury yourself in a corner, but it's, you have to really not be paying attention for that to happen.
You're going to do it eventually.
I probably will, yes. Okay, I'm David.
And I'm Jordan.
We'll talk to you next week.
Hello, everybody. It's Robb and Anna Marie from the Meeple Dungeon.
Hello.
And we are back again recording for the Whatcha Been Playing Wednesdays podcast. We have one game to talk about this week. What game is that, Anna Marie?
That game is Skull, designed by Hervé Marley, art by Thomas Vorchet, and published by lui-même.
Ultra France.
And I apologize, that was butchered.
Yeah, Skull. This is a very cool small box game that just consists of basically coasters.
Yeah.
And
really nice, fancy coasters.
Yeah, the whole premise of this game is a bluffing game where you have a stack of coasters given to you, and on those coasters are going to be flowers and one
3 flowers and 1 skull.
Three flowers, 1 skull.
On the side that you can see. On the back side, they got nice, pretty designs. Every person gets a different color.
Yeah,
so
there's a purple color, red color, green color, and so on.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very simple game where you are going to take your stack of coasters and you are going to play one of those coasters face down, whether it's a flower,
or probably,
or a skull, perhaps. And everyone's going to lay one down. And then whoever started the round is going to decide whether or not they want to play another down or do a challenge. And what they're going to do is they're going to, if they're going to play one down, they're simply going to play another disc out of their hand. And then whoever's to the left of them gets to do the same, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And the first person to challenge is going to reveal coasters.
They're going to pick a number. They're going to say what they challenge.
Exactly. So say 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we're playing a 5-player game, and I decide I'm going to reveal 4 coasters. First thing I have to do is reveal my entire pile.
Yes.
So
if it had only gone around 1 round and you only put down 1 coaster, you have to reveal yours
reveal my
first.
one.
If it had gone around twice, you'd have to reveal both of yours first.
Yes, and then I would have the decision of picking an additional 2 coasters.
Yes.
So what you're trying to do is flip over coasters, revealing only flowers. You don't want to reveal any skulls. So if I knew I laid down 2 rounds of coasters that were flowers.
Yes.
And I called 4.
Yeah.
I could then flip over my 2, and I would have 2 flowers. And then I would decide between the other, say, 3 players, of which I want to flip over some coasters and hopefully land some
Flowers.
Not skulls.
Yeah, when you're flipping everybody else's, you don't have to do their entire stack first like you do yours. You can pick one from one player, one from another player, one from another player. You just always have to flip all of yours first. So don't be like me and play your skull first and then bid too.
Don't do that. Because then you reveal a
Wrong
skull
choice.
and then you're kind of out for the round.
On the first round of the game.
So if you were like me, you would play down, say, 2 flowers, and then you'd get to the end of the second placement sort of phase and say, yeah, no, I'm going to challenge for 4. And then you would take down, well, actually, the person to your left would then have the option of challenging for 5
Yep.
or passing.
Yes.
And so if they wanted to challenge for 5, then you're kind of boned.
It goes around the table, right?
Yeah.
The next person can bid 6 and then 7 if you
Yeah,
want.
and then it's that simple. It's kind of up the ante
Yeah.
or pass.
Yeah.
And so if no one ups the ante and everyone passes, then you get to go for it. And you get to reveal your stack. Say it was 2. And I've got flower. Okay, perfect. I need to reveal 2 more coasters within the 3 of you that are hopefully flowers.
Yeah.
And if they are flowers, great. Then I get to flip my little coaster board thing face up. And I've got a shiny flower, meaning that I'm halfway to victory.
Yes.
If I had messed that up, then how does that work?
Then you flip over a skull.
Right.
Right.
Then I'm kind of going the opposite.
You just don't
way.
flip anything. If you did it wrong, if you ended up flipping a skull over, you don't get to flip your coaster over to the flower side. You have to take one
that's
one
right.
of your other players randomly chooses one of your coasters, and that is out
Discards
for the
it.
rest of the game.
Yeah. So
and
now you're
every
down to 3
every
coasters.
time you lose, you're going down a
That's
coaster,
right.
and it
So,
gets
So
pretty,
you want to make sure that you want to be as close to making sure as possible as you can that you're making the right choice.
But this is where the fun bluffing comes in, because I unintentionally bluffed. So I totally forgot I had put my skull down first in this one game I played, and it came around to me again. So I had 2 coasters, and I was like, I challenge 2. And then it went around and people were passing, and then I realized in my head, I had this like panic. I was like, oh no, I played a skull. And I was like, please bid 3, please bid 3. Mm-hmm. And then the last person right before me challenged at 3, and I was like, yes. Yeah. And of course they picked mine.
So they unloaded their whole stack, and then they went over to yours and said, oh, I'm going to go for Anna Marie. And it was a skull.
Yes.
Yeah, so then they end up having to discard at random one of their coasters at pull by someone at the table. Yeah, and then they're only down to 3 coasters. Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's the premise of the game, is you kind of want to be the last man standing. And it's very interesting. There's a lot more going on than you would think in this game.
Yeah, there's more game here than there deserves to be.
Yeah, it's very bluffy and just thinky, where it's like, oh, did they do only flowers, or do they have a skull in that stack somewhere?
Yeah.
I know I don't have any skulls, so I'm gonna call 3, and I only have 2 in my stack, so I'm gonna get rid of both of those. Those are both flowers, and then I got to pick one of you to flip over the top one, not just anyone, but the top coaster from your stack, and pray that it is a flower. And if I do, I'm halfway to victory. If I can do that again, I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
So it's basically, if you can succeed twice in calling the amount of flowers out there, you can win the
and it's
game.
fun succeeding first early, because then you can keep however you play the game, but you can keep putting flowers, and then you try to bid to try to get other people to bid, but then I put a skull, but they're like, but I can't let her do it or else she's gonna win because she's already flipped once. And so
it's such an interesting game. There's a lot more going on here than you would anticipate. Highly recommend it. It's inexpensive.
Yes,
it's a great game for multiplayers. It's a great party game. Super good. Skull. We have one more thing to chat about here quickly, is that we, on our next episode of the Meeple Dungeon podcast, is going to be episode 40. And we are going to be doing a triple header review.
A rapid review
in this episode, where we're going to be reviewing 3 games.
Yeah, you called it the hat trick.
The hat trick, Yes, what I call it, triple header. Yeah, the hat trick rapid review episode 40. We are going to be.
Maybe we just give it a really long, obnoxious name.
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing Scope, Stalingrad from Zacatris, and Draco Ideas. We're going to be also reviewing Caper Europe from Keymaster Games, and then a brand new Kickstarter that just delivered. So, You've Been Eaten from Ludi Creations.
Yeah.
We are going to be reviewing all 3 of these games in episode 40. So check that out, and that will be on all your major podcasting sites in the next week or so.
Yeah.
So we are going to see you next week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Hey there, this is Norm from the Cardboard Conjecture podcast and Bridge City Board Gamers here in Saskatoon. And speaking of Bridge City Board Gamers community, let's see what they've been playing. Let us start off with Hans. Terraforming Mars, that just gets stamped in stone. Twice as Clever, Dwellings of Elderval, or Vale. Carnegie Guild of Merchant Explorers, that's pretty clever, and Targi. I've not played many on this list. I've Terraforming Mars, Targi. That's Gonshon Clever. I played that one, yeah. Carnegie. I've just picked this up recently, and I've played. Probably 5+ games solo. And Xavier George, one of my favorite designers, has kind of done another, pretty solid game as far as what I like that he does of this game. So, great lineup. Matt, another light week for me, oddly enough. All 3 games are games that I learned and played at Jeff Con, and it's Arc Nova, Cascadia, and Project L. Yes. Arc Nova, I'm digging this. I'm digging this card drafting, engine building kind of joy of interconnectedness wrapped around a theme of, stewardship, conservation, and just straight out learning some interesting things. There's a great connectivity if you like that kind of tableau building game. And I'm enjoying it. Cascadia, one of my favorite games of that year, and it is a solid abstract puzzle. 2 layers of abstract puzzle. One is in regards to the tiles and the areas that you're creating, and the other is the habitation of those tiles by certain types of species and the patterns of that. Identification or area marking, I guess. So very cool indeed. And in both cases, the solo is awesome. Project L, I can't talk about it at all because I've never played it, but I've seen it pop up a lot. Mike, Caper is a quick little card drafting 2-player game. Really nice component quality. Would definitely play it again. Dice Realms is a Dominion but with crafting dice faces instead of building a deck. I really enjoy this one. Art is a little boring, but gameplay is fun. Super Fantasy Brawl is a 1v1 arena battle game with big miniatures. Ooh, yes. Hans's favorite. Okay, cool. I really like it. I've been playing it a pile on Board Game Arena. Finally got my physical copy to the table. So nice. I don't have to expand at all. Mike, you did a fantastic job describing the games that you've played. I've not played any of them, and they all sound interesting to me. So cool. Jeff, German Railways. Yes, because the big box edition came out, and it is no longer a unicorn that a Euro game that requires over $100. So nice. Abandon All Artichokes, nice card game. 10, again, a good game. Dwellings of Eldervale and Carnegie. Those are all great games. German Railways. I think it's on BGA. So if you're akin to that and you want to get some practice in, you could go to BGA and try it out. Cody, getting stars of Akarios to the table for a few sessions and enjoying it. I've never heard of that. I'm going to make a little note and go check it out. Thank you, Cody. Jonathan, am off work this week, but also have been sick. So I've played around 10 games of Zombie Kids Evolution with my 7 and 5-year-old, and I got it from $10 from Amazing Stories open box sale, but everything was untouched, and it's really fun so far. Yeah, that is such a great game. Matt from Scorpion Masqué had talked about it and suggested it in our discussions, and yeah, it's such a fun game, and it uses standard, board game mechanisms, and but does it in such a manner that you can include a wide age level. So right on, and if you didn't get involved in that Amazing Stories blowout ding and dint, and we've got too many sale. I picked up Adrenaline. And Adrenaline is such a fun kind of first-person shooter game. So, yeah, well done. Lane, Battle for Hogwarts, Gloomhaven, and Tavernia. I've never heard of Tavernia. Battle for Hogwarts, yeah. I think that I haven't played that one. I've played the I have played Battle for Hogwarts. There's the other card battle one-on-one games that I've not played, but yeah, that one, if that's the one I'm thinking of, it goes through the books, and you have like 7 kind of campaign sessions to go through as you fight for control of Hogwarts. So right on. Ryan, Russian railroads with the German railroads expansion, and abandon all artichokes, and 10. Nice. Tim, I can't see what it is. He's got a couple pictures here. Terraforming Mars is one of them, and I see. I think it's the Warhammer one, Age of Sigmar, I believe, with the big miniatures. That looks awesome. And Dan, to Ishtar is game night with some friends. We'll try Hidden Leaders for sale. Otorama, Deception, MIHK. Maybe some Blood on the Clock Tower. Wow, those are all games that I have fringely heard of. So that is awesome. That is I love it when I get to see games or people talking about games that I've not heard of yet. So that's fantastic. Well, that's a great lineup for the Bridge City Board Gamers community. Well, as far as what I've been playing recently, what you been playing, Norm? I've been playing, as mentioned, the first one, Xavier George Carnegie, published by Quinn Games, and art by Ian O'Toole. I always love mentioning when there is art of a standard of excellence, and there's, I believe, if you look back in our episodes, we talk about some fantastic artists in the board game industry. So Carnegie, I'll give you. They've got a great little kind of paragraph description of what's going on. So obviously Carnegie, the individual, from the States, where there's a library, Carnegie Libraries, Carnegie Hall, right, for arts. So philanthropist, and a lot of money was given out. So you could get into the details of the individual, but we're talking about the game. So the game is this idea of a map of the United States with all the cities, like a Ticket to Ride kind of map, with all these interconnected lines, and you have all of these areas of philanthropy, donations, foundations that you can bequeath wealth to. So, like I said, during the game, this is read from the description, during the game you will recruit and manage employees, expand your businesses, invest in real estate, produce and sell goods, and create transport chains across the United States. You may even work with important personalities of the era. Perhaps you will even become an illustrious benefactor whose contributions to the greatness of his country through deeds of generosity. So this is, area movement. There's connections. The whole system drives off of your player tableau, where you have your your business building, and these buildings have these offices, and there is a Meeple kind of like action selection system that is very familiar to another Xavier George game I have called Royal Palace, where these meeples will move on a grid in rooms of the palace that are actions, and that system it's here, right? I mean, I can see the DNA of that game in this game, and that was one of the unique things I thought about Royal Palace was that idea of engaged and disengaged employees, meeples, actions, right? So yeah, I had such a good time. And also too, there's not that it's gadgety, but it's another way to demonstrate a little more depth or tracks, I guess, because Euros love their track systems. And in this case, there's 4 tracks, and but they're not on the board. They are sliders that are in the center of your office building, double layered player tableau, and they slide out as you invest and progress in your industry, and they reveal tokens that go onto the board to designate your growth of industry. So I am so fired up with this game that it's driving me to want to talk about it in great detail. And there's going to be a review. There will be a review coming up about this one. So yeah, Carnegie, Xavier George. Okay, before I forget, those the cool thing. Another cool thing with this game is the end of game bonuses are those areas that you bequeath or that you invest, donations to, and those become your end of game bonus point conditions that you can develop during the course of the game, and also watch others develop and maybe get in the way and take away some of the areas or types of investments or types of buildings that they need to up their bonuses. So there's a little bit of nudging and getting in it's that whole Euro conflict where it's very passive aggressive. I got there first, right? So yeah, that's Carnegie. And I'm going to switch games before I continue talking about it for so much more. I want to quickly mention that I got a taste of the T-Series with Tzolk'in. And now again, I did not know that this was connected to the T-Series. I bought it because of the social studies history bent on it. And I'm a huge fan of Mesopotamia and ancient civilizations. And I'm talking about Tabanusi, builders of Ur. And of course, it had to be solo, and this plays solo. And it is designed by David Spada and Daniel Tassini and published by Board and Dice. Board and Dice coming up with some very good, heavy Euro, challenging games. And as I said, Tabanusi is set in ancient Mesopotamia during the time of Ur and its development. And basically, you're building, you are constructing and developing in such a manner the map, which is 5 kind of different areas of Ur. There's 3 districts of development in traditional sense. Then there's the ziggurat, which are the step pyramids that the Mesopotamians are famous for. And in that area, those are, again, bonus conditions or kind of elements of manipulating and awarding certain thresholds of the game. And there's also, because of Mesopotamia and the concept that it's, the 2 rivers, as I think what its literal translation means, land between 2 rivers, that there's going to be shipping elements and harbor elements, and that is demonstrated very well in this game. Now, it is, I mean, not to say things are heavy games. This one is complex. This one requires a lot of cognitive load in regards to getting the rule set down. Even the solo play has a detailed process. And again, nothing of this is bad. It just requires more attention to the details of learning this game correctly. And once that, I talk about Mage Knight the same way, right? I love that game, but it takes, there's cognitive load going on. There's a lot of mental working memory required to maintain the rule set. And not only that, but to, see it develop in the game in front of you, or actually sort of like lucid dreaming. It's happening, but maybe you can influence this game a little bit in your favor. So I'm good. Lucid gaming. That's my next thing. Yeah. I'm just going to stand and watch it like a dream, and maybe I'll win, and maybe the dice hate me. So this one is a very cool game as far as how you select your choices, because you have two meeples and there's a boat with dice involved that are designate to the different areas, and you have to it's like a one step ahead. You have to declare your next action, or not your next action, the next region where you will have 4 choices of actions. But yeah, that's you basically demonstrate where you want to go next, and then in the area that you have the remaining meeple, you do your 2 actions, and then you have that one catch up to the point, the person on point. I'm enjoying this game. And I know that I'm enjoying this game because once I started learning some other games, and the part of my brain that had that rule set was still wanting to explore the game. I mean, theoretically in my head, how you sit there and go, oh wait, I could have done this, or I wonder if there's a connection between this and this, and that whole list of possibilities that you explore in your head as you're having a sip of coffee, at least for me. I'm quite enjoying it. I'm quite enjoying it a lot. So that being said, getting to the point of the show where I like to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen what we have to say about board games. And also thank you so much to the content creators for taking the time and making this special episode happen every week. Thank you so much. It is so appreciated. And that being said, keep your stick on the ice and take care out there, eh?